Hi everybody, how are you? Let me get out of this screen here. Apparently now I have some answers that make some sense. Now, I've had to go through a fire and hell to get an answer, but I think that I might be finally getting a hold of somebody who can explain things a little better. I don't have a manual copy of the discovery, so I'm going back through my recording here. This is what is being brought up here. They're not showing what I'm asking. I am asking about why it is showing the other negligible results that are in Cece's and not Bella's autopsy, specifically stating the MDMA. People are taking what I am saying and showing other pages. I simply have questions. It should not be a horrible thing to question something. You should not be subjected to the kind of persecution that I am being subjected to for daring to ask questions in what does not make sense. The Shiners have taken over the Reddit thread because I made the mistake of saying that it was a good Reddit thread that had a lot of good conversations and whatnot. So the Shiners, why are the Shiners doing this? If the Shiners are comfortable with the narrative, why are they all over everybody trying to shut down anybody asking questions and threatening their lives for doing so? Who are these people? What do they want? Why are they doing it? Is it because in their gut they know that the narrative isn't right? I am asking why these things are in a child's autopsy. I am not immune to the fact that yes, they were in oil, so there is ethanol and other things. I am talking about the toxicology that shows a negligible amount in Cece's autopsy that is not shown in Bella's. That's what I'm asking, and that's what I'm being vilified for. As such, because I asked the question, I finally have some people who know what they're talking about and have spoken to the point. Now I'm understanding a little bit more, but I still don't understand why there is more of a result in Cece's than Bella's. That's the question that I'm still uncomfortable on. That being said, the person who answered nicely explained it in this way. So they looked at where I'm looking at, and it's hard because I can't show the two documents. The one that people are assuming that I'm talking about is this one right here, and that is not what I'm talking about. So let me see if we can get here. What I'm talking about is when it is testing for amphetamine, ephedrine, MDMA, and MDEA. Okay? What this person is saying is they are saying that it is not a negligible amount. Okay? And they said it in a nice way. They said, respectfully, you're misinterpreting this part of the report. Let me explain. It says you were looking at this and interpreting this as being all of the drugs compounds in Cece tested positive for. However, in your video, you scrolled past the important part that explains what it is you're actually looking at. They said, I wish I could include more than one screenshot from your video in my comment because it might make it easier to explain. But here's what the report shows at the timestamp 127 in which I cited. And it says the following tests were performed for this case. And it says the tests are the compounds, drugs that you see listed below. The numbers next to it on the right are the reporting limit, not the amount that was found in her system. That makes sense, the reporting limit. And it says the reporting limit for each compound represents the lowest concentration of the compound that will be reported as being positive. If the compound is listed as none detected, it is not present above the reporting limit. Please refer to the positive findings section of the report for those compounds that were identified as being present. Basically, what this is saying is that unless you see a compound listed in the positive findings section of the report, whatever they tested for did not exceed the reporting limits and therefore is not a positive result. And I showed the positive findings of the report at timestamp 127, and the only compounds found in our system that exceeded the reporting limits were butanol, ethanol, propanol, and acetaldehyde. Well, none of the other drugs I listed, MDMA, meth, were present in her system. The compounds that were in her system that are listed are explained in the mixture of oil she was found in and in decomp. And they said, I know it's a little confusing, but hopefully it makes more sense. That's all I'm asking. Because it doesn't make sense to me that if it was negative, why they both aren't. They were both put in, yes, separate tanks, but they both should have the same reading, and one should not have a different reading in a toxicology. There are things that do not make sense in the way that Cece was acting by her own mother's reporting, by her mother continuing to take her to the doctor. I believe that she was being given adult MLM products that you do not give a child. I believe that that child was overly medicated with Benadryl, etc., etc. That is proven, and that is stated by her own admission. These are the questions, and these are the behaviors in which I am pointing out. There was something very toxic going on in the Watts home. And maybe I can't prove it on this toxicology to the toxic level of the behavior, but I do believe that I have a right to ask a question, and that is what I have done. When I read the autopsy a year ago, I posed this question. I said, why is this positive? What is this? Nobody has been able to answer that. When I looked at it again last night and thought that I had a good amount of people in which I could converse, I put the video out there again and I cited it and said, these are the questions. These are the things that bother me. This is why I talk. And I've been vilified and scraped over the coals for doing such. It's pretty disgusting. Anyway, what has happened to me, I hope, does not discourage other people from asking questions. I believe that we should be able to ask questions when things don't make sense. I am very thankful to the poster who did so, and the other person commented on Shanann's coffin birth as well, and she did refer to it as coffin birth in the ethanol, and that is still my question, in that I understand that ethanol can be a byproduct of decomp, but separately there's the blood alcohol concentration that is of noted difference, and that does not make sense to me either, in that Shanann's ethanol was 1.28 milligrams and her blood alcohol was 0.128. That does not make sense to me. So again, I have questions. I guess that can't, I like I say, I'm very, it was a really good group of a lot of people who I was having a lot of good conversations and food for thought with, but the people who want to shut my channel down are more active in that, and it's scary because they are, I don't know, they're not, well, anyway. So if we look at this, and we see the ethanol in the comment and the reporting limit. Where the ethanol increased. Go back to this. And let me see if I can get the next page. Okay, so it talks about the different substances, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So again, it's propanolol, acetaldehyde. Okay, so these are the basics on that. Let me see if I can get to the next page without making it skip. Those are all from the components there. That makes sense. This is where I get confused. Because go here. Alcohols and acetone conformation tissue, blah, blah, blah. So all of these compounds are there, but they're within the reporting limit. Okay, that makes sense. That's, I guess, my question. Let me see here. Pseudoephedrine. Okay, let me see if I can get to the next. So the ethanol is present, and all of the other ones are under the reporting level. Okay, so they're there, but they're under the reporting level. Makes sense. I understand it. Let me see here. I can't find the documents in the way that I want to for this. I just wanted to say that, okay, it is explained in that I can't get one to the next to be able to show what. Okay. Propanolol. Acetyl. Okay. So why does ethanol increase? Let's go here. So it continues to say that the likely cause of death is asphyxiation due to smothering. Okay. And toxicology results are likely represent decomposition and an artifact of being submerged, blah, blah, blah. Likely represent. Toxicology results likely represent. It's not proven. I still have questions. I believe that I'm allowed to have questions. Let me see here. I am sorry that others do not believe in asking questions. I think that discussion forums are there so that people can have different varying backgrounds and they can come together to have an adult conversation. When somebody has a question, and I have had a question, I thank the person who answered it, because as I said, I have been asking this question over and over for a year and never got an answer as such. So I very much thank you for the answer. And I hope that the board goes back to being one where we can ask questions, because there are other things that just do not make sense. And I don't know. I've never seen a case where people are attacked for asking questions. This one bothered me, and it still bothers me. I don't think that alcohol should ever be, a blood alcohol that high should not be in a pregnant woman. There should not be discernible amounts of chemicals that are not from the environment, the oil, in a toddler's body. I am so thankful that my question was answered. And again, I hope that we go back to having more food for thought than what is going on in this board right now. Thank you for listening, and I shall close with this. Maybe.